Hello, everyone. So Cvent. Cvent was founded in 1999. It was founded by our co-founder and CEO, Reggie Agrawal. Now, at the time, Reggie was managing a professional association. He very quickly found out event planning, it's pretty hard. Finding a location for the venue, sending out invitations, collecting registrations, just to know who was gonna show up. So the idea was pretty simple. It was take a paper-based registration process and bring it online. From there, Cvent was born. Now, events like this one, well, they're pretty important. They really embody what's best about the human connection. And they're big business. They're part of altogether a $1 trillion global industry. And they're not just for entertainment purposes. For a lot of organizations, they are their lifeblood. Nonprofits, associations, corporations. When you ask marketers, 74% of them will agree that events are their #1 marketing tactic. And accordingly, 24% of their budget goes to events. Now, Cvent's evolved quite a bit over the years. We're doing a little more than registration. Now we cover the entire event planning lifecycle, from finding a venue to executing on site. We like to say that everything fits perfectly together, and for events of all sizes, from your smallest training to the largest summit or user conference. Now, in 2022, we were ranked #8 of the top 100 software companies. We've grown quite a bit, 4,700 employees. We service 20,500 customers, and all told, we've powered 5.4 million events. So, sounds pretty good. And all things considered, yeah, things are going pretty well. But let's wind the clock back to 2020. In fact, a precise date, March 11th, 2020. Events, well, they weren't going so well. NBA games, canceled. Tokyo Olympics, postponed. Venues like this one, the McCormick Place, stood empty. I remember in March, there was a day where not a single event ran on the Cvent event management platform. And at the time, we didn't know, is this gonna be 2 weeks, 2 months, or 2 years? This was an existential crisis. Not just for the companies we serve, but also for Cvent itself. So, there was nothing. We'll literally keep nothing up on the screen for just a second to just let it sink in. You know, fundamentally, Cvent believed in the power of human connection, so we kind of knew if we couldn't meet face to face, nothing was gonna stop that innate desire that humans have to simply connect. Now, replicating the engagement of events like this one online, that was gonna be a pretty tall task. We knew that video conferencing tools alone likely weren't gonna meet the expectations that audiences bring. And technically speaking, these virtual events looked quite different than in-person events. Why? Well, the technology, it is the venue. Everything's bigger, everything's faster. There are bigger audiences, bigger data sets. Everything's happening in seconds that used to maybe take minutes, hours, or days. So these were vastly different usage patterns. So we had to innovate. We had to be ready, and luckily, we had AWS. We'd already migrated over the preceding years. We had modernized our stack, and that positioned us well to be ready to innovate, to meet these newfound virtual event requirements. So what were those requirements? First, elasticity. Usage patterns and traffic, they were gonna be unexpected and unknowable. We needed the ability to pre-provision, to auto-scale. So we leveraged ECS, EBS, and Lambda to do that, and scale with traffic as needed. Now, had we been on our legacy physical data center, we would have had to massively over-provision, and for certain that would have come at a cost. Second was scale. There were more people coming to these events. There was more data, and there was more data for each and every person. And the way that it happened was fast. If I simply asked everyone in the room right now, how many of you had breakfast this morning? Quick show of hands. Okay. A lot of you. That was just 2,000 digital interactions if that happened in a virtual event. That happened right now. So we need to handle that kind of scale very quickly. But we also had to make sense of it for our organizers. They needed to put signal to noise. So we built our own analytics pipeline, leveraging S3 and RDS. So we could turn every click and every view into a simple score. So our customers could understand which attendees were most engaged and which were not so much. And we went a little bit further. We even leveraged that same data pipeline to incentivize engagement itself, as it powered our gamification layer across every virtual event. Third, expectations. They were high. We had to have a resilient system. If we went down for just 1 minute, that'd be like turning the lights off in this room or turning the lights off on this stage. Yeah, it gets a little weird, especially when you can't see me anymore. But imagine it's not just me, you're turning the lights off on your CEO during their keynote. And yeah, okay, this is getting a little weird. We can turn the lights back on. But that was just for a few seconds. Imagine if it was that full minute. So we knew we had to be up, and we had to be up all the time. So leveraging Amazon's well-architected framework and multiple availability zones, we were able to improve our resiliency. And finally, this platform. The Cvent platform is our competitive advantage. And our customers expect to find everything they need to run an event, now not only in-person events, but also virtual events. They wanted to find it in one place. Now, had we not migrated to AWS, had we not modernized and built new microservices, we wouldn't have had the building blocks, we wouldn't have had the ingredients we needed to build this new solution on our platform. So AWS allowed us to execute. They allowed us to double down on that strategy and extend our competitive advantage. But most importantly, they allowed us to meet our customers' expectations. And it's a good thing, because the first event we ran on this platform was for our customers. We took our user conference, Cvent Connect, and we brought it online. And 41,000 of our customers signed up, looking to see, how is Cvent going to execute a virtual event? How is Cvent going to run one on their own platform? No pressure for our engineering team that just had a few short months to deliver this. And I'm excited to say it went off without a hitch. We actually collected 1.1 million engagement points. So we could unlock those key signals of buyer intent, measure engagement, and for our marketers, they could determine the next best action for each and every attendee that was there at that event. Now, this was built on a product called Attendee Hub. So how did the product do? Well, it took Cvent as a company 10 years to hit $69 million in annual bookings. Attendee Hub, just 10 months. It was our fastest growing product in the history of the company. So, what's next? What's next for our customers? What's next for the industry? Well, 2 years spent in nothing but a virtual environment has changed expectations. Video is going to be the key to driving engagement at all events, virtual, webinars, even in person. So we're going deeper with AWS. We just completed a migration of 6,000 customers to migrate to Chime SDK, Elemental Media Convert, the interactive video service, and CloudFront. And I'm actually going to be talking about that in about 30 minutes, right after this presentation in our lightning talk, so feel free to come check it out. Now, Francesca said, she talked a lot about innovation. She said, our innovative cloud powers innovative customers. And at Cvent, it's not often that you have a chance to redefine a category or reshape an industry. But we're the example of how pivots need to happen, will happen, and effectively can happen when AWS is along for the ride.